Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Top 10 biggest stories in Jamaica for 2023. From the gruesome murder of 10-month-old daughter of veteran Member of Parliament, along with her 27-year-old mother that shocked the nation, to the multi-million-dollar SSL fraud that ensured Olympic icon Usain Bolt and over 200 others, 2023 proved to be another roller coaster of a year for news in Jamaica. Throw in the Wild Wild West type actions on Korea Company Berylum, the standoff between the government and the Integrity Commission after the Prime Minister was cited for possible conflict of interest, added the heights that came with the Reggae Girls' historic run at the FIFA Women's World Cup. And the news during the year under review was pulsating, to say the least. The multi-million-dollar fraud SSL that keeps unraveling. In what has emerged as the biggest fraud in Jamaica's history, Private Security Dealers Stocks and Securities Limited (SSL) found itself at the center of a multi-million-dollar scandal that has ensured over 200 clients, including Olympic icon Usain Bolt, who lost more than $12 million or nearly $2 billion Jamaican dollars. Bolt appears to be the SSL client hardest hit, as while initial estimates have placed the fraud in the region of Jamaican $3 billion, affecting between 30 and 40 clients. Shortly after it was uncovered in January, that figure had ballooned to $30 million or $4 billion Jamaican, involving over 200 clients domiciled in Jamaica and overseas by December, as reported by the Financial Investigations Division (feud). Yet, despite the ballooning fraud and the expansive investigation involving feud, Fraud Squad and the United States Federal Bureau of Investigations (FBI), a UK-based forensics firm, and other agencies, just one individual, former Wealth advisor Jean Panton, has been charged. Panton confessed to stealing the client's accounts and have been charged with 3 counts of larceny as a servant, 5 counts of forgery, 5 counts of authoring forged documents, 3 counts of engaging in transactions involving criminal property, and 3 counts of breaching the Cybercrime Act. Her case is currently before the Home Circuit Court. Effective January 17, the Financial Services Commission (FSC), which has oversight of the financial sector, appointed business recovery expert Kenneth Tomlinson as the temporary manager at SSL. Around the same time, the legal team representing Bolt gave SSL 10 days to return his missing funds or face criminal and civil actions. The invested sum was reportedly towards Bolt's self-designed pension. In a letter to SSL dated January 16, the law firm of Fraser, Binns and Garden told SSL that Bolt's account containing in excess of $12 million as of October 31, 2002. However, according to the letter, only $12,000 remained. In January, Clark had announced the government's intention to engage international forensic audits as well as the FBI to help unravel the fraud, which spanned more than a decade. According to a statement issued by the Fed in early December, further investigations into the SSL fraud had revealed that more than 200 accounts were affected, surpassing $30 million in fraud and other irregularities, with inquiries extended beyond Jamaica. The Fed said that despite numerous appeals and direct means of communication, it had only received 23 official statements from affected individuals and entities. There was a development in the case on December 7 that set tongues wagging after it was revealed that several laptops were stolen from the SSL's Hope Road offices. Then to the shocking murder of Paul's daughter and child's mother. Despite the regularity with which the brutal murders occurred in Jamaica, there are some killings that leave the nation collectively numbed by their sheer callousness. The murder of 10-month-old Sahara Powell, the daughter of the long-standing Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal Philip Powell, and her 27-year-old mother Miss Patterson in September, was one of those occasions. Their killings left the nation stunned. It was even more shocking when the murder plot was revealed and the unmasked alleged mastermind turned out to be another of Paul's baby mother. She is from the United States, a United States Navy culinary specialist, Seaman Leoda Bradshaw. The 34-year-old shares a young daughter with Paul. Sahara and her mother were kidnapped from their Gilmore Drive, Kingston 20 home on September 9 and taken to a location in East Kingston where they were shot and their bodies burned. For her alleged part in the kidnapping and murder conspiracy, Bradshaw is charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to kidnap, 2 counts of conspiracy to murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 2 counts of capital murder. After police have confirmed that Zahara and her mother have been murdered, Powell issued a statement in which he said his heart was heavy with sadness. He expressed that he wanted those responsible to be punished to the full extent of the law. Another big story is the armored car beryllium became a target for robbers. A distributing trend emerged in 2003 when gunmen started targeting trucks belonging to Korea company Beryllium Limited with deadly consequences. By the end of the year, at least 1 security guard was shot dead and several others shot and injured, while at least 1 gunman was shot and killed and several injured as security guard fought back. Millions of dollars were stolen and the public confidence in the ability of the security forces to maintain law and order was shaken. In response, the police high command in early May announced that it had put together a special team of highly experienced and trained detectives to carry out investigations into the attacks on the Beryllium vehicles. However, the attacks would continue. At the time of the announcement, there had been 4 attacks on the security firm's personnel in Portmore in St. Catherine, St. Elizabeth, and St. Thomas. Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Crime and Security Portfolio, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitzbailey, who made the announcement of the investigative team, acknowledged the impact that the robbers have had on the public confidence in the police ability to maintain law and order and assured the police would be assisting Beryllium in carrying out its task. One of the deadly attacks took place on February 27 at the Portmore Pines Plaza in St. Catherine when brazen gunmen absconded with almost $10 million in cash after gunning down a security guard and injuring 2 others in a mid-Sunday morning robbery that shocked bystanders. On August 25th, gunshots rang out in the heart of Mandeville, Manchester, during a major robbery in the vicinity of the Scotiabank branch on Wards Avenue in the town. Gunmen toted high-powered rifles, attacking Beryllium's security team during a cash delivery at the bank. One of the guards challenged the attackers, but the security team eventually retreated, and the gunmen managed to grab 2 of the bags containing cash, escaping in a Mark X motor vehicle. While the police initially said 3 people were shot, it was later discovered that 5 persons, all innocent bystanders, had in fact been shot and injured. They included 1 individual who was inside the bank and another who was waiting to use the ATM machine. Crab Circle closed over filthy affair. The stomach-checking action of 1 vendor who was caught on video wiping herself after defecating inside her stall became nonchalantly dropping the tissue at her feet. This resulted in a 2-month closure of the popular seaside eatery, Crab Circle, located at National Hero Circle. After the video went viral with Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora expressing their disgust at the vendor's action, the police, on the advice of the Kingston and St. Andrew Public Health Department, moved in and closed the facility on October 5th. The offending vendor Alice, who was one of the most popular vendors at Crab Circle, was banned from the facility after the location was reopened in late November. The vendors having undergone mandatory training. Additionally, bathroom facilities were constructed for both vendors and members of the public ahead of the reopening. Since the reopening of Crab Circle, they are yet to see the crowds it experienced daily before the incident with Alice happened. Then to the massive salary increase for politicians. The massive salary increases announced in May by Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clark for public sector workers and the political directorate resulted in sustained criticism of the Andrew Holness-led government. Even the usually smooth-talking Clark had trouble during an appearance on TVG's All Angles, justifying the level of increases to Jamaican politicians when several Caribbean countries in better financial standing are paying their politicians far less. In the wake of the criticism, the Prime Minister took a decision to forego the increase which he had taken in would have seen his salary balloon to $28 million per annum. For his part, opposition leader Mark Golding called a press conference to announce that he would be donating most of his salary increase to charitable causes. He told a press conference that he was aware that he was the only opposition member in the House of Representatives being paid at the senior executive leadership level. As opposition leader, Golding is paid at the same level as the Deputy Prime Minister. Both will take home $25.7 million beginning April 2024. Golding said he would only keep the equivalent of a 20% increase, which is in line with what most members of the public sector received. The increases will see members of Parliament taking home $14.2 million effective April 2024. Another big hit for criticism was opposition takes court action over government's decision to extend retirement age for the DPP. On August 8, the opposition People's National Party filed a lawsuit challenging the government's amendment to the Constitution which increased the retirement age of the office holder of the Director of Public Prosecutions and Auditor General. Opposition leader Mark Godin had threatened to take legal action after the government, with its supermajority in the House of Representatives, had 2 weeks earlier rammed through the amendment despite strenuous objections by opposition members of Parliament. The bill, which was tabled by Justice Minister Delroy Jog, was tabled and debated the same day. Godin argued that such a constitution required that he be first consulted in his capacity as opposition leader. The amendments facilitated the change in retirement age for the DPP and Auditor General from 60 to 65 years. The amendment means that the DPP Paula Llewellyn, whose time in office would have ended in September, receives an extension for at least 2 more years. She could in effect remain in office until she is 70, as she could be given a further 5-year extension. The DPP has now been given a second extension. She previously received a 3-year extension in 2020 when she turned 60. The Auditor General, Pamela Monroe Ellis, who would also benefit from the amendment, is in her early 50s. Godin has argued that the way the government approached the matter could undermine confidence in the office of the DPP and suggested that the independence of the office could be questioned. Cabinet Minister Robert Morgan has accused the opposition of pursuing a personal vendetta against Llewellyn. 39 years for Clansman gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan as long-running trial ends. The long-running Clansman trial, which commenced in September 2021 in the Supreme Court, came to an end on October 2nd when gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan was sentenced to 39 years and a half by presiding judge Chief Justice. The Chief Justice sentencing was briefly halted due to reported stomach-related issue, during which he kept his head down and even bumped at one point. Before Blackman's sentencing, another gang member, Tommy Taylor, received a 90-year-and-a-half sentence. Taylor's sentence was reduced for an initial 17 years considering he had already served 5 years and received a 2-year discount due to having no previous convictions. Earlier, the lone female defendant, Stephanie Cole Christie, aka Moma, was also convicted for being a member of a criminal organization, was sentenced to 9 years and 10 months behind bars. The notorious Clansman gang's bloody reign in St. Catherine have left hundreds dead as gang members busted each other for extortion spoils in and around the bus park. Then to the multi-million-dollar separation that Hilton and Cohen received out of NCB. When the CEO of NCB Financial Group, Patrick Hilton, and his former deputy, Dennis Cohen, were sent on leave on July 16, a tremor was felt in Jamaican financial circles. The men had spent 20 years at the bank, moving profits from $2.5 billion annually to the extent where NCB footprints into at least 20 countries. They were later separated from the bank in November by its billionaire chairman, Michael Lee-Chin, who cited the need for new leadership and a different direction. While things were initially tense between Hilton and Cohen on one hand and Lee-Chin on the other, including when the former employees demanded nearly $14 billion in compensation, all three men shook hands in November in a settlement estimated at between $6 billion and $7 billion. The figures are estimates calculated by reporters from the company's financials. Both men, along with the NCB Financial Group chairman Michael Lee-Chin, have also buried the hatchet that led to the disagreement. They sat with the business reporters for an exclusive interview to show Jamaica that despite the events of the previous 4 months, all parties are satisfied and ready to move on. Standoff between Government Integrity Commission after Holness cited for a possible conflict of interest. It was politics on display in February when all 13 government senates cross-ranked behind Prime Minister Andrew Holness as they called for the sacking of Executive Director of the Integrity Commission IG, Greg Christie, over what they deem the IG's handling of the damning report on perceived actions by Holness. The senators accused Christie of presiding over the unjust treatment of the tabling of the report related to contracts during the time when Holness was Education and Youth Minister in the Bruce Golding administration. The senators collectively blamed Christie for unjust treatment in relation to the belated publication of the connected ruling by the Director of Corruption Prosecution, which exonerates Holness of any wrongdoing in the awarding of contracts to Westcon Construction Limited, whose principals Holness has been closely associated with. After coming under relentless criticism from its delay in tabling the connection report, the IG in a statement said it is worth repeating and stressing that publication of the ruling could not be done before or simultaneously with the report. It had to await the tabling of the report, that is the law as crafted by Parliament. The IG also stated that Christie has no control over the content of an investigation, report or ruling. The IG had recommended that the Prime Minister be referred to its Director of Corruption Prosecution for possible further action in a case involving the award of millions of dollars in government contracts to Westcon Construction, citing a possible conflict of interest. Holness in his initial response said he strongly rejects such of the Commission's finding and had referred the matter to his lawyers. I strongly reject any suggestion or insinuation of wrongdoing, and I will do all in my power to ensure that the truth is known, he remarked. Finally, Reggae Girl sister crown at FIFA World Cup brought joy to our proud nation. Despite a lack of funding and their on-again, on-and-off dispute with the Jamaica Football Federation over pay, the Reggae Girls Jamaica's senior national women's football team created history when they reached the last 16 of the FIFA Women's World Cup this past summer. Along the way of the last 16, the girls held football powerhouse France and Brazil to draw and got the Panama 1-0. Their draw, which Brazil effectively knocked the South Americans out of the tournament, as the Brazilians needed a win to advance. What was remarkable about the historic run by the Reggae Girls was that they were appearing at only their second World Cup after France in 2019. During the 2019 World Cup, they went winless in their 3 group games, conceding 12 goals. In that 2023 tournament held in New Zealand and Australia, the Reggae Girls conceded just 1 goal when they lost 1-0 to Colombia in the round of 16. The Jamaicans also became the first women's team from the Caribbean to win a match at the tournament when they defeated Panama. While their coach Lorne Davison and the JFF parted ways in September after they did not agree on terms, Donaldson in December was named the new head coach of the Chicago Red Stars.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.